Clock's not. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living. So happy that you have joined us this morning through the power of technology, both live streaming on Facebook and Zoom. So grateful to have you with us. So grateful to have this group assembled here to facilitate today's streaming. And most importantly, today, Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, the traditional mothers and the not-so-traditional mothers, those grandmothers who maybe stepped up to step in for a mother who was unable to be a mother at the time, or the single fathers who have played both roles of a mother and a father throughout their children's lives, or perhaps the gay couple who is also playing both role of the mother and the father. Also those random women in your life that you have felt so close to, that you have felt nurtured by and supported by in so many really wonderful ways. We celebrate all of the mothers today, and I am so grateful for the presence of my mother in my life, and of all of those women in my life, those men in my life that have that divine feminine quality, those divine feminine qualities within them, such as nurturing and unconditional love. And I know that each one of us has had someone in our life like that, and so today we are grateful for all of them. I just have a little video to honor all of the mothers. So please, let's take a look at that.
You gave me a drawer in your kitchen. You gave me the room with a view of the yard. Whatever the hurt, you knew right where to kiss it. You gave me the best of your heart. And you carried my rocks in your pocket. Flowers and feathers and butterfly wings. You had an answer for all of my questions. You showed me wonderful things. I know that it hasn't been easy. I hope that I love like you do, 'cause I know that this world would be better if everyone had a mother like you. You make the best macaroni. We never cared that it came from a box. The mom in the stands always clapping her hands, started cheering and still haven't stopped. And you held me when I came home crying, 'cause someone said something that just wasn't true. I always said that Janelle was my best friend, but really it's always been you. I know that I haven't been easy. I hope that I love like you do, 'cause I know that this world would be better if everyone had a mother like you. Mother like you. Our second was born in September. I still can't believe I have kids of my own. I look in their eyes and I can't help but wonder, who will they be when they're grown? I know it won't always be easy. I hope I can love like you do, 'cause I know that my kids will be better if they have a mother like you. If I am a mother like you, 'cause I had a mother like you.
Happy Mother's Day. It is now my pleasure to welcome up to the podium our platform host of the day, licensed spiritual practitioner and awesome mother herself, Mary Ann Hardy.
Take a breath. Good morning. Our theme for 2020 is 2020 Spiritual Vision. Our May theme is Listen to Your Heart. And Rev Dusty's talk title today is Listen to Your Heart. I'm now going to read the community purpose statement, which is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to inspire, educate, and empower individuals to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We're committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives and to being a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply, we are here for God. Oh, taking that deep breath in, settling in, opening our eyes and hearts to the service that's coming next. I just want you to listen to the sound of the crystal bowls as they wash over you.
As the last of the sounds reverberate through the cells of our bodies, I invite everyone to return your attention back into your bodies and into your rooms and remain turned within as I speak a word of blessing upon our time together. Truly knowing that it is a divine appointment that God is having through and as each of us individually and collectively, that it is filled with the very essence of peace, of joy, of love, of wisdom, of abundance, of grace, of creativity, and of freedom, the very essence of God itself. I know that I am one with this power and presence. I know that it is that which created me in a moment of unconditional love. It is that which sustains me and guides me, guards me, fuels me, and loves me. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is the truth of each and every person in this room this day, each and every person within the sound of my voice, each and every person and sentient being on the planet. There is no place where God is not. So right where we are, all of us, God is in its fullness and in its wholeness. We are a hologram of its presence, ambassadors of who and what it is on the planet. And it is from that place of unity that I bless our service. I bless those in the room here, Mark and Karen, facilitating the AV, keeping the sound and the look intact, and I bless the practitioners as they come forward. Diane, as she facilitated the meditation this morning, Babs as the practitioner du jour, and Marianne as the platform host, knowing they bring their depth of consciousness and their love of this community to everything that they do. I bless Cindy as she comes forward to share her gift of music and inspire each and every one of us today. I bless my own sweet self as I allow my small self to stay at the door and allow the words of God to flow through and as me today. And I bless everyone in our community, everyone on the planet, all of the mothers, all of the essential workers that are even now keeping this country safe and healthy and thriving. And I'm so grateful for all of the blessings, those that I'm aware of and those I can't even begin to imagine. So grateful for the technology that keeps us together as we must stay apart. So grateful for the presence of God in my life and for life itself. We allow this service to unfold with grace and with ease simply by saying, "And so it is, and so it is, amen." Please welcome another awesome mother, practitioner, licensed spiritual practitioner, Barbara Kane.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Mother's Day. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths as represented by this ceremony. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. So it is. Thank you, Diane. Today's reading is from Ernest Holmes' writings. He says, "I will listen for thy voice, inner presence. It will guide me and acquaint me with all knowledge. Thy voice is sweet and tender. It is always kind and gentle. O lover of my soul, how I adore thee, how I love thee. How I love thy voice. It thrills me with gladness and joy. It fills me with peace and calm and soothes me. It quiets me and gives me wonderful rest. I listen, O divine speaker. I listen to thee alone." Ooh, beautiful, and so it is. And so one more time I ask to have you close your eyes and join me as I recognize that one spirit, that one divine voice, that one infinite mind that is in, as, and through me and each and every one of us. And I know that divine voice, that loving, soothing voice, speaks through Reverend Dusty this morning as she allows herself to be a beautiful, wonderful conduit of that divine, loving voice. And so I speak a blessing on her as she delivers the message that touches us exactly where we are. I speak a blessing on her knowing that she is expressing the divine in, as, and through her in this moment and in every moment. And I also speak a blessing on Cindy Johnson as she delivers her beautiful gift of music and song, as it too opens us up to the love of the universe, and as it too soothes us and brings us joy and peace. And so it is. And now, Cindy Johnson. Woohoo! Yay!
Thank you. What if a prayer is not a plea, a desperate call with tears that fall on bended knee, but breathing out and breathing in, it's God in me that lives and breathes, my trusted friend. My life is a prayer that God is praying. My thoughts are words that God is saying. My laughter is the sound of angels praying. My life is a prayer that God is praying. What if today I had the chance to move and sway? God leads the way in my life's dance. What if I knew with
without a doubt. No need to fear, God's right here within, without. My life is a prayer that God is praying. My thoughts are words that God is saying. My laughter is the sound of angels playing. My life is a prayer that God is praying. My life is a prayer that God is praying. My life is a prayer.
Beautiful song, Cindy, and as always, divinely inspired. Perfect song for today. Welcome to those of you who may have just arrived on Facebook or Zoom. Since we're celebrating Mother's Day today, it seemed appropriate to begin my message with the idea that at around 16 weeks or so of pregnancy, it is very likely that the small, tiny little bones in the middle ear, which sense the vibration of sound waves, have developed enough for the embryo to be able to start to detect some sounds. In fact, one of the first sounds an embryo hears is its mother's heartbeat. And the embryo's heartbeat is one of the first sounds that the mother hears from the embryo developing within her. So the heartbeat represents the aspect of the heart that is physical. The heartbeat begins with an electrical impulse which serves as the normal pacemaker of the heart. By controlling and maintaining the circulatory system, it enables the life that cannot exist without it. It enables that life to exist. This sound, the voice of our heart, is so important to each and every single one of us that the minute we stop hearing it, the minute we stop feeling it, we know that something is amiss, that something is drastically wrong. But the heart is so much more than the organ that pumps blood throughout our bodies. It actually has two aspects. One is the physical aspect that I was just describing, and the other is spiritual in nature. The heart sustains our energies and emotions. It's not only the source of our body, but also the source of our being. It is love and cohesion and kindness and compassion and unity. It is the resting place of the creative spirit within us. It is the flow of creative energy that animates us. It is the creativeness of the universe speaking right through each of us. It is the location of our intention in life, our true intention in life. If we follow the flow of energy that seeps through our hearts, we would access that intention. The heart symbolizes the dreams and the desires and the intentions that we wish to manifest in our lives. It represents our own unique and individualized path to our highest and best selves. Spiritually speaking, the heart is the wisdom and guidance of the universe, or the wisdom and guidance of the divine within us. It is where our intuition resides. It is forever speaking, forever guiding, and forever imparting itself to, through, and as us. It is the essence of spiritual and emotional, the spiritual and emotional wisdom within us, and it is the valuable guidance that comes from deep within. The voice of the heart is primal. And when we listen and pay attention to it, we will hear the call upon our lives. So my talk title today is Listen to Your Heart. Now, listen to your heart is a widely known idiom, often used in spiritual and self-help circles, but what does it really mean? Ancient philosophers and scientists considered the heart as a seat of emotion, that such traits as kindness and compassion actually stemmed from there. So from that understanding, if we were to think about listening to our hearts, from that understanding, then listening to your heart would mean that we were to listen to our feelings and emotions instead of using the reason and logic of our intellect. That it means that we do the inner work to become aware of our feelings and then to trust them as the inner guidance system that serves us throughout all of our lives. Now, this is not always the way that we move through our lives. Many of us didn't grow up with hearing that idiom, listen to your heart, nor were we encouraged to do so. Many of us grew up with the idea of finalizing our choices and our actions through the rational tools that our brain provides, like logic and reason and rationality, creating lists, for and against, pros and cons, looking at it rationally, looking at it logically. Now, this isn't to say that logic and reason and rationality aren't important, because they are. This conventional path can also lead us to our personal truth and insight. It's just that we cannot possibly absorb all of the information or all of the knowledge that is out there, all of the knowledge and all of the information that's available to us. Therefore, it's a matter of where we look and to whom we are listening. We cannot find the truth by listening to just one person, or by reading one book, or perusing through one website, or listening to one TED Talk. Small bits of wisdom are to be found everywhere, from spiritual perspectives all the way to the newest of scientific discoveries. It is up to us to see the bigger picture by connecting the dots of many different pieces of wisdom, much like Ernest Holmes did when he was creating this philosophy, this way of life called science of mind. The truth has to be connected by seemingly unrelated bits of knowledge. So the invitation is to widen our perspective and investigate many different ranges of subjects that interest us. The invitation is to leave no stone unturned, to listen to what the experts say, but to also listen to try to discover the opinion of those that oppose the experts. The more we do this, the more we will actually find similarities. The more that we do this, and the more that we do to distill it all down to the underlying foundational truth, the more that we will see that everyone is speaking their own truth with their own particular spin attached to it. And the more we do this, the more we will be able to grasp the bigger picture. Now, the invitation is to stay as open-minded as possible. Having a shut down, prejudiced mindset hinders us from discovering new ideas, new concepts, and new approaches. An excellent way to remain as open-minded as possible is to remember that all of the knowledge that we have put together, all of the dots that we have connected, all of the insights that we have gained really only add up to about 1% of the knowledge that is actually out there, of the knowledge that is actually available. You may remember a talk that I did, I think probably a couple of years ago now, in which I had a big blue circle on the screen. And I said that that big blue circle represented all of the knowledge that there had ever been and all of the knowledge that there would ever be. And I invited each of us in our mind's eye to outline or to describe a section of that circle that represented what we know that we know. And then I asked us, again in our mind's eye, to map out or describe out a section of that big blue circle that represented what we know we don't know. So what we know and what we don't know. And then I suggested, as I put a very small little dot in the middle of that blue circle, that dot actually represented everything that we know and everything that we know that we don't know. That little teeny tiny dot. And that everything else in that big blue circle, and what I want you to get is that big blue circle is not a circle at all, because that would imply that wisdom is finite, but we know that wisdom is an aspect of God, and so it has to be infinite. But so within that circle, everything else except that tiny, teeny little dot is everything that we don't know that we don't know. That idea of the 1% assumption is the assurance that we will not fall into a space in which we think we know everything there is to know and thereby shut ourselves off from a wider perspective or from a bigger picture. In the end, no matter who we are listening to, what we are reading, or what race consciousness believes, the invitation is to allow our heart to judge the legitimacy of our brain, our logic, our reasoning, or our rationality, whatever those things believe to be pure science or pure science fiction. So again, we wind up back at the heart. Let me give you an example. In January, I began to plan a reunion with my brothers and my sisters for June. The plan was that we were going to meet in Fayetteville, Arkansas for a week and just hang out together, something that we hadn't done for a really long period of time. And then came the coronavirus and social distancing and sheltering in place. So now here it is, May 10th to be exact, Mother's Day, and I'm wondering about my trip to Fayetteville and my reunion with my family. So I've taken the time to really look at the tons of data that there are on both sides of this re-entry conversation. I've looked at the side that says that the numbers are looking good, that the curve is flattening out, and that it is time to begin to step back into our lives. I have also looked at the data and listened to the people who say that the numbers only look good because of the data that is coming out of New York. That if we were to take New York out of the equation, that the data would show that the numbers are still going up across the rest of the country. I have read that airlines have put safeguards into place that can honor social distancing, and I have also seen images of packed planes with many people on them, very few of them wearing masks. all of it is way too confusing. All of it is much too much for the rational, logical, reasoning mind. And so I do what I do, and that is to get quiet and to close my outer eyes and to turn my attention away from the external world and allow my attention to be turned inward. And I sit in the quiet and I contemplate. I sit with the question, what is the highest and best thing for me to do? And as I sit there in that quiet, and as I was thinking about this, contemplating and putting myself on that plane and being in the energy of that, I did not feel peaceful. I did not feel calm. I felt a knot in my stomach. In that moment, I did not have a full body yes. While I really wanted to see my family without a full body yes, I know that it is not mine to do in the moment. My inner wisdom, my heart has spoken through my body, and I am listening. I looked at all the knowledge. I paid attention to all sides. I gathered up everything I could, and in the end, I listened to my heart. And I connected with my brothers and my sister, and everyone understood and agreed. It is the best place to go. It is the only place to go. Because the bottom line is that we can listen to 1,000 people, all of them representing their own truth, but we will only find our own truth within our own selves. Stephen Mueller, in an article called "The Truth is Within You," says, in fact, the only truth you will ever know in this lifetime resides deep within yourself. The mind is capable of great creativity, brilliant scientific discoveries, and a host of inventive solutions to complicated issues. However, it can also get caught up within the boundaries of the physical plane and the drama and the fear that can come with it. On the other hand, our true heart, the source of wisdom that is emanating from deep within us, is not subject to chaos. It is not limited by pain or by fear or by neurosis. It will never steer us wrong. Now, that is not to say that the heart will not nudge us out of our comfort zone, that it will not nudge us out onto the skinny branches where our faith will be tested, because in all probability, that is exactly what it is going to do a time or two throughout our lives. It will not come, however, with pressure, pain, anxiety, or a feeling of burden. Instead, it will come with sweetness, tenderness, and kindness. In their book, Listen Up, Ed and Deb Shapiro say, messages from the heart do not come down the path of the red carpet, accompanied by trumpets, trombones, and fireworks. Instead, it is a profound realization of spontaneous but grounded thought emerging from deep within, providing a greater understanding of a given subject. In many cases, the language your heart chooses to speak makes itself felt as a subtle hunch, a gut feeling, or a sudden thought concerning a given event, a person, or your life. Our bodies are capable of translating the intuitive messages that we receive from our heart. It may manifest a message that something is not right as a knot in your stomach, as that which I felt when I thought about being on the plane, or it could be a feeling of sickness or a tightness in our chest or in our throats. On the other hand, when we are going along with the flow of our intuition, there is often a sense of peacefulness within our bodies. In most cases, it will simply feel like the right thing to do. We will simply know it to be true and right from a state of peace and tranquility deep within us. The question then becomes, who do we have to be and what do we have to do to listen to our heart? Janet Conner, in her book, Writing Down Your Soul, talks about 4 things that we need to do when journaling, which is just another way of listening to our heart. They are show up, open up, listen up, and follow up. Today, I am sharing 2 of these 3 in with my own take on them. Show up and listen up. Now, every day, our heart sends us powerful messages, but unless we take the time and the space to pay attention, we might miss them. A busy, stressful life gets in the way of knowing what it is that we really want because we can't hear our heart anymore. So the first idea is to show up. Janet Conner says, show up sounds like a self-evident step, more of a duh than an instruction. But it isn't a duh at all. For many, it's the hardest and the bravest step because it is the first step into the unknown. Showing up marks the first creak of the door into the realm within. Step 1 may seem self-evident, but the truth is if you don't show up to have the conversation can't take place. So showing up involves setting a time and a place, which is not always easy in our busy day-to-day lives. Listening to our heart requires that we cultivate some quiet time in our lives, some time to internally reflect and shift our attention from the constant distraction of the external world and our mind's evaluation and judgment of it. The world offers so many different opportunities to not listen to our heart. The moment that we set an intention for real spiritual practice, for real listening, the world and all of the people in it start coming up with all kinds of new and novel things that we should do instead. The phone rings, the kids argue, the dryer sounds that horrible sound when it's at the end of its cycle. We suddenly become very thirsty. The list goes on and on. Our egos and other people in our lives know that once we start really, really listening to our hearts, then everything is going to change. And in all probability, they don't want that change to happen. So they will constantly throw up all kinds of interruptions to interfere with our listening. Showing up requires our conscious choice. We get to decide what is important to us. We get to decide what we will turn our attention and our intention toward. Showing up means knowing who and what we are at our very core. It means having faith in the divinity within us, trusting our inner wisdom, and creating a warm and safe space and place for the shy soul, our intuition, to speak up. Showing up means tapping into the knowledge that we arrived on the planet with. That deep, innate knowing of ourselves, represented by the thoughts that randomly show up throughout our lives, that maybe at the time might have felt like some childhood imagination, but were actually, in hindsight, profound. We're actually, in hindsight, complex and oh so very true, like the 5-year-old who had the thought that we are not separate, but that we are all one. Showing up means going with the flow, not forcing anything, just allowing the intuition to make itself known and felt as we would allow a flower to unfold in its own time. Expect nothing, but be open to everything. Showing up means quieting our rational minds. This mind has the habit of distorting, hijacking, and judging the messages that we receive from our heart. So we have to give it a rest. We have to give it a rest. Meditation, a long walk in nature, a candlelit bubble bath, listening to some inspirational music, a morning bicycle ride away from the busyness of the city, or simply gazing at the stars at night. Anything that allows us to quiet the mind, to still the chaotic thoughts, and to allow the intuition to have an opportunity to speak. It allows for a sudden thought to pierce our consciousness from within. This brings us to listen up. Now, listening to our hearts is a spiritual practice that takes time and practice and patience and dedication and discipline. Showing up consistently day after day and reverently listening with a deep reverence will forever change us and will forever change our lives. Our heart has spoken to us throughout our lives and will continue to do so in the future. The invitation is to listen to it as we want it to listen to us, with the same attention, with the same acceptance, with the same understanding, and with the same depth of unconditional love. The invitation is to listen with our spiritual ears. The voice of the heart will make itself known, will make itself heard, will make itself felt. So the invitation is to listen with patience and to know that the truth will reveal itself to us when we are ready to perceive it. Steve Mueller says, you can think about this as a complex process where the events in your life, thereof gained experiences and drawn conclusions, will have to tie in with each other in perfect synchronicity to prepare you for the knowledge that another insight reveals to you. The invitation is to be patient. The voice of the heart will make itself known to you, will make itself heard, will make itself felt, but it might not always be in the way that you expect it to happen. So the invitation is to let go of expectations and to be open and available to however it does show up for you. It might be subtle and unexpected. It may be a sudden, spontaneous thought that all of a sudden pops up when you're in the shower or hanging out with your kids or in line to get a to-go item from McDonald's. It just might all of a sudden pop up spontaneously, but what we feel within us is an excitement and an energizing moment. It might be a feeling that shows up in our body like a knot in our stomach, as I felt, or a tightening of the throat, or a joyful quickening of our heart. In all probability, the heart may not, start a regular sounding conversation with us, but may show up as synchronicities that we all of a sudden start noticing in our lives. Or maybe it might show up as a positive development originating from an intuitive thought. The invitation is to be open and available to anything and everything. The voice of our heart will make itself known, will make itself be heard, will make itself be felt when we simply ask. Ask and the answers will be given. The invitation is to get quiet and to ask the wisdom within a question and then listen for the answer. Not yes and no kinds of questions, not that booby-prize question of why, and certainly not questions like what's wrong with me or what's wrong with blank, but really open-ended, deep, probing, soul kinds of questions. The voice of our heart will make itself known, will make itself be heard, and will make itself be felt, but we have to take the time to contemplate the download. We have to notice the positive benefits that emerge when we follow it. Doing so will allow us to discover a pattern that all of the messages that we have within us in common. And that is the unique way that our heart makes itself known to us. And when we know that, we will hear it all of the time. I leave you with a quote by Janet Conner. She says, "There is a voice within you. There is a voice inside everyone. Whether you hear it or not, the voice is there. Whether you acknowledge it or not, the voice is there. Whether you ask it for help or ignore its guidance, the voice is there, waiting. It's waiting for you to stop, if just for a moment, and listen. The voice is always there, guiding you, encouraging you, loving you." So my invitation for all of us today is to consciously make a point to listen to our heart. And so it is. And so it is. Please turn within as I speak a word of prayer for all of us individually and collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, as the entire world. In this moment, with my eyes closed, turned away from the external world and all of its busyness, with my attention turned inward, I am acutely aware of the power and presence of God within me and surrounding me. I'm acutely aware of that heart, that center of my being. Not only the heart that pumps and circulates the blood in my body and keeps me alive, but that heart, that spiritual heart, that is the soul of my life. The wisdom, the creativity, the peace, the joy. I know that I am one with it. One with my physical body, one with my spiritual body. That I can never be separate from either of them. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is the truth of each and every one of us. That each one of us individually and collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is that heart and soul of the divine. That heart lives within us and we live and have our being and breathe within that one heart. And it is from that place of unity, that deeply connected space, that I speak these words about and for each of us today. Truly knowing that this time of social distancing, this time of staying at home is the right and perfect opportunity to take the time to get quiet, to take the time to turn within, to take the time to turn off our computers and unplug our phones and take a deep breath, to align ourselves with the truth of who we are, and to ask the deep and probing questions, and to listen reverently for the answers, as though we were about to hear the most important thing that we were ever to hear in our lives, because in all probability that is exactly what is going to happen. that as we ask the questions, the answers are already on their way. What is it and who are we to be and do to create a better world for all of us, to create a safer world, to create a more just and fair world, to create a more loving world, a kinder world, a gentler world. So the invitation today is to do just that. For each of us in our homes to individually do that, for us to do it collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, for us to do it collectively as our states and our countries and as the planet. How can we support each other? How can we support the planet? How can we support all sentient beings? There is a divine opportunity at play here. And so I claim ease and grace for each of us in tapping into that wisdom, into listening to our hearts, to that wisdom within each of us, and to knowing, to show up, to open up, to listen up, and then to follow up, to do whatever it is that is ours to do in the moment and moving forward. Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the answers are available, that there is something that each of us is to do, that it is uniquely ours to do. And that as we get quiet, we will know what that is. And I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. And so I release them into that law with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for our community, and for the world simply by saying, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all. Thank you, Cindy. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer financial support to assist this community to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and each other. Together we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and contributes to the experience of sufficiency in the world. Please repeat after me. I am grateful for all that I receive. And I am grateful for all that I may give. And so it is. So on your screens right now, there is the text to tithe number. You can use that if you would like, or if you prefer, just go to our website at trianglecsl.org, and up in the upper right-hand corner, there is a give button. I'm grateful for everyone in this community for all that you are and all that you do and all that you give. Thank you so, so very much. It is now my pleasure to welcome back to her piano another incredible and awesome mom, Cindy Johnson.
When things go wrong, when things go wrong, you gotta start again. When things go wrong, weird. It's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, It's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in this moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. And still I find I'm crying out for answers. Yes, I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment I remember, it comes so clear to me, that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I can be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. God knows.
So beautiful. Thank you. If anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the home page, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it to all the ministers and the practitioners, and we will pray on it for you. And now, in the comfort of your home, please stand for our May affirmation. It's a call and response. I'll read a line, you repeat it back. I am grounded in the power and presence of life itself.
I am grounded in the power and presence of life itself.
It is from that place that I move.
It is from that place that I move.
I practice my gift of freedom by listening to my higher self.
I practice my gift of freedom by listening to my higher self.
I completely trust the process.
I completely trust the process.
Today I answer the call to discover, liberate, and express my divine genius.
Today I answer the call to discover, liberate, and express my divine genius.
I trust and allow the divine wisdom within me to guide my choices.
I trust and allow the divine wisdom within me to guide my choices.
I follow its lead.
I follow its lead.
My life is the life of the divine made manifest.
My life is the life of the divine made manifest.
Spirit works through me in wonderful ways.
Spirit works through me in wonderful ways.
My hands are the hands of God.
My hands are the hands of God.
I use them in service to the world.
I use them in service to the world.
And so it is.
And so it is.
That was almost that clot thing, Dusty. I use them in service to the world, and so it is. And I'm going to do a benediction. When I have finished the benediction, please stay with us for the final video. And once again, happy Mother's Day and have a wonderful Sunday. I recognize the divine, magnificent, infinite mind. It's infinite. And I know that I am one with it, and all y'all are too. That we are all one with this ever-present, ever-loving, all-knowing, infinite mind, and that it speaks to us and through us as we turn inward, turn our thoughts to it, and our being is filled with love and joy and ideas, and we are energized and inspired to bring this beauty forth. And I'm so thankful and grateful to know that we are one with this infinite mind in every way, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And our lives are enriched, and we are guided and guarded, and everything is in divine right order. And so it is.
And so it